Hello and welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Hey, it is Russ and Michelle and Kyle, and we are coming to you with the latest edition of the Infectious Groove Podcast. This week on the program, we are going to have an album review, which is a crowd pick, so we will get into all of that in the second half of the episode. Before we go into our usual segment of feedback and our jammy jams, I am going to try and have this episode take an upswing so we can give the album review the respect it deserves, but I think all three of us agree we would be remiss if we didn't mention that this episode is being recorded the morning after the sudden and untimely passing of Taylor Hawkins, drummer of the Foo Fighters, who left us at 50 years old, which is entirely too soon. I honestly don't know, because the three of us haven't discussed the Foo Fighters all that much. I don't know where you guys stand. I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan, but I'm a huge Taylor Hawkins fan, if that makes sense. Where do you guys stand on like Foo Fighters in general, or Taylor as a drummer?
Yeah, I'm also not a huge Foo Fighters fan, but I should say I did cherish Taylor Hawkins, and I do fancy some Dave Grohl. So,
yeah.
As far as like the music they make together, I mean, I could take or leave the Foo Fighters in general, but they're both super talented, and it's really
just sad.
It's a shame.
For me, honestly, I could take or leave most of their catalog except for their record Wasting Light, which I think is a masterpiece front to back. Like, that's actually been on my list of albums I might pick for review for a long time. It's just brilliant from start to finish. And Taylor was, of course, one of the driving forces behind that. Now, Michelle, of course, we're not going to try and make too many jokes during a segment like this, but with the Foo Fighters, do they just boil down to Dave Grohl for you? Like, or were you aware of Taylor Hawkins even, or no?
He was in that documentary we watched.
Yes, he was in that documentary about the Foo Fighters, since he's the Foo Fighters.
No.
No. Count me in. Count me in.
Yeah.
The
documentary, yeah.
Yes, as a
so
matter
I
of fact,
know from that.
Yeah.
And the Foo Fighters are just there for me. They're not.
Yeah.
I could take them or leave them.
I hear that.
But I liked them in the documentary.
Now, Michelle, you know this. This wasn't you that was at the show with me, but you know this from having gone to many concerts with me. You know how attached I get quickly to musicians in live outfits that are just, killing it. And for me, my love affair with Taylor Hawkins as a musician started when I went and saw Alanis Morissette in a club in like 94 or so, like right before Jagged Little Pill broke. I saw her in a club, and I remember distinctly halfway through the show elbowing my friend and pointing at Taylor Hawkins and being like, that's my guy. Like, damn, that's my guy. What a dude, And then his career's been super easy to follow because he ended up in one of the biggest bands on the planet for the past 25 years. But the whole thing is just really sad. He leaves behind a wife and kids, and of course the entire extended Foo Fighters family, the band itself, and the fan base. And having said that, we will try and take the episode have an upswing. To me, it would be ridiculous if we didn't at least address that occurred. So last week's episode. Go ahead, Kyle.
My bad.
No, go ahead.
Very rarely am I like shocked when you hear that someone has passed away, especially when it's a rock star and you're like, oh yeah, well yeah, whatever. It happens more than it should, but this really caught me off guard when I seen it last night. I was like, what in the hell? Like, that's one of the last people I would have expected to hear that from.
Yeah, I was absolutely stunned when I heard. Having said that, Michelle, do you have any idea what we talked about last week?
Wasn't an album review.
It was not an album review. That's good. So you're 50% there, because half of our episodes are album reviews. So
to be fair, I wasn't on last week's episode.
Well, to be fair, you were on the first half of the episode.
Not when we talked about the topic.
Last week's topic was, in fact, albums and artists that we think should be bigger, underrated artists.
That's what I was going to say.
And as Michelle clearly remembers what a wonderful episode it was, we have some feedback. Actually, Michelle, you should tell us if you have feedback for Kyle and I from the second half of the episode. All right, so let's get into the feedback.
Feedback, John. Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
Ever since you did your stunning impersonation, Michelle, I can never tell if that's you or David Gilmour. Listener on Twitter, D-Tension, says, 2 artists I would pound the table for that should be bigger are Meg Myers and Skating Polly. For Meg, all the emotion she pours into her music is unmatched, and every album is great. No 2 songs sound the same. For Skating Polly, the level of musicianship that each of those kids possess is nothing short of astounding. The raw power in their music rivals 90s grunge and borders on punk rock. So 2 artists I had never heard of, so I'm part of the problem as far as that goes.
I was going to say, you're a part of the problem.
Yeah, I'm a part of the problem. And then Seth came in and tacked on tweet and said, this just in, Russ hates it because it's punk music and he doesn't like punk music. So. But apparently it leans more towards a 90s grunge sound. So that, to me, sounds like something you might even want to look up, Kyle. The band, what is it here? Skating Polly. Take a listen to that.
Check it out.
Yeah, see what you think of that. Sue Garcia, who is a newer listener of the show, was catching up on our episodes about 1984. And I had mentioned in those episodes that she had mentioned to us that she had turned 21 in 1984. And I was telling you guys, oh my God, to be 21 in 1984 and the concerts that you must have seen then.
Yeah.
So she got back with us and told us that some of the shows that she saw in that year, she saw In Excess at St. Andrews Hall in 1984.
Damn.
I mean, damn it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then she went on to say, and I like this a lot, she actually gave us our not to push traffic to our Facebook page, but if you go to the Facebook page and take a look, there's some really good feedback that gets left on the Facebook page. And she left a bunch of other comments that I'm not going to go through right this second, but one of them is crazy to me. It says she saw Van Halen at Cobo Hall in 1984. She was on the main floor on Eddie's side of the stage, and this is great. She says, I was about 20 feet back from the stage, and it's the only time I ever thought that I might actually get crushed to death at a concert. Did I leave? No. Which I absolutely love. Nick Fowler, who listens to the show and gives us quite a bit of feedback regularly, brought to the table that a band he thought should have been bigger was MXPX, whom it's one of those bands that like is not really in my wheelhouse, but I think you guys have heard of them. Yeah.
I thought that they were pretty damn big.
Well, yeah, but Nick makes a good point that they should have been like Green Day or Blink level. You know?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they definitely weren't that big, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say that a current example of an artist that he thinks is popular but should be more popular right now is Mod Sun. His most recent album, Internet Killed the Rockstar, should have been a gigantic hit, especially with artists like MGK, Olivia Rodrigo released similar style music and have been topping the Billboard charts. Have you listened to Mod Sun, Kyle?
Yeah, so he
Oh boy.
Mod Sun is he used to be a rapper, just like MGK.
Oh boy. And I know how much you love that.
He's done the exact same thing that MGK has done now, and he's singing the exact same type of music. So I don't like MGK's new stuff, and I don't really like Mod Sun's new stuff.
Gotcha.
But it's along the same exact lines.
And we covered that in the genre hopping episode too. Like you have an aversion to it in the first place, just because they're like, oh well, I'll try this now. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I just Mod Sun put out a documentary too. I think about his change of pace of things, but I don't know.
That was like a big thing when I was a kid when a band had a documentary made about him, and it seems like now everyone has a documentary made about him, like or multiple.
Yeah, a lot of it's like they do the shit themselves.
Yeah,
so
that's true too. Yeah, I guess anybody with an iPhone can make a documentary about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Michelle, now just confirm for me, you have no idea what a Mod Sun is, I'm guessing?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Okay.
Where am I?
Yeah, I think I'm getting an idea as to why you never know what we talked about. Because you're like, I don't even know who any of these people are. The Docking Bay podcast gets at us regarding our underrated artists episode and says, great episode and great topic. There are so many great artists that never get the fame they deserve. My choice for the band that should be bigger is King's X, which I'm going to stop off in this and say, I can't believe that I didn't mention King's X, because I go on about that band to anybody who will listen. I have damn near stood on street corners with copies of their albums being like, do you have a moment to talk about King's X? So I'm really glad that they pointed that out, because King's X is one of those bands that absolutely should have been, and I say should have been, they're actively touring. They put out new records. Like, they should be bigger than they are.
So you're also part of the problem.
I am also part of the problem because I didn't mention that on my own podcast. Yes. Are you taking notes, Michelle? Okay.
I am, yes.
Are you updating the spreadsheet of things where I'm the problem?
Yeah, it's like getting so long though. I don't even know. Like, now is it chronological, alphabetical?
I was going to say, are you into double letter cells now? Like you're
Yes.
over in the AABBCC's God damn it.
Damn it, yeah.
And then one special note for me from the Document podcast, there was not nearly enough Tesla and Extreme on the playlist. And I told him that's totally my fault. You only put the songs on the playlist that I gave you to put. And I didn't think everyone wanted to hear a ton of Tesla and Extreme. And I'm happy to hear that I was wrong. So going forward, I'll fix stuff like that. Anthony, who I've told you guys before, has one of my favorite Twitter handles, which is Anthony, and then in parentheses, Taylor's version, said to us that I heard your latest episode, and I have to admit that I totally agree with the Culture Club. They were literally the first band that I became a diehard fan of when they came out, with me being 10 at the time. But then Boy George's drug problem hit, and it was at its peak and led the band to breaking up. And I was really disappointed by the news of it. I still wonder what they could have accomplished and how many more albums they could have done if they had been able to stay together. I still love and listen to their music every day. And Anthony, I could not agree more on all points. Like I told you guys during the episode, well, I told Kyle during the episode, they put out 4 records in quick succession in the 80s, and then right when they could have been big, they were just shot themselves in the foot for like 15 years. You know, like continually shot themselves in the foot. And I just wonder what all could have been done during that time. You know, user from Twitter, Blue Sky 28, who actually picked our album for our review this week, wrote us some feedback regarding a bunch of different episodes as of late. He says, regarding the Kanye review, I was pleased to see that you chose his most ambitious album and probably my favorite. For me, it's one that captures all aspects of his personality best. I'm definitely in the same camp as Kyle with Kanye, one of my most listened to artists. Recently, I watched the documentary about him on Netflix, which was great viewing, especially the early years covering the making of what I consider to be a classic, The College Dropout. As far as the 1984 episode goes, it's a little before my time, but I really enjoyed it, the two-parter, and I learned a lot from it. It was great to hear how dominant Prince was in that year, too. Yeah, because 1984 for Prince, everybody always boils down to just Purple Rain coming out, but he was just dominant in all aspects that year, so that's always good to point out. I personally have a whole list of artists that should have been bigger and more recognized, and I'm sure everybody does. I totally agree that while it's nice to have the intimacy of smaller venues for gigs and be able to put someone else onto something they've never heard before, the danger that every project they release would be their last, and if you don't manage to break through is very real. It's kind of scary, actually. Industry politics crush way too many promising careers, and a couple of names you guys mentioned I'll definitely check out because it sounds right up my street, which is what we were talking about, Kyle, specific to the R&B that you brought up. It's like if you're not one of the chosen few, then you're just going to be left to toil, you know?
Yep.
Let's see here. Russell finishes up and says, keep up the great work. This podcast is the best way to start a new week for me, and it makes my Monday morning blues disappear a lot quicker, which we hear a lot from listeners, and I will never get tired of hearing that. You know, that like we're the best part of someone's week.
That's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling for sure, Michelle. And how much credit, give me a percentage, Michelle, how much would you take for being the best part of everyone's week?
90.
90? That's fair. And then Kyle and I just split the last 10.
Yeah, so one of you's 8 and one of you's 2. I'm not going to tell you which one's which.
Fair enough.
You have to guess.
Okay. I'll put my mind to that this week and see what I can come up with. Lauren from the Beard Owl podcast gets at us about underrated artists and says, I actually had to think about this a lot, but the two that would come to mind for me is the Decemberists and Haim. And what's funny is I actually asked her, I'm like, how do you pronounce Haim? Because I want to make sure I say it right. She sent me a YouTube link to them telling you how to pronounce their name, and then I forgot. So it's different than Haim, but I'm saying it anyways. You guys probably know.
Can she tell us how to pronounce Calio?
I'll put her on that case.
All right. I appreciate it.
Yep. She says of those artists, the Decemberists and Haim, she says, I love them both on a very personal level. I wish more people knew of them, but they're both kind of intellectual and cerebral music, and I don't have that much faith in humanity. So that sounds like something you'd say, Kyle.
I feel like the Decemberists they're big in the genre of music that they do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like anyone who listens to that style of music knows who they are, I think.
I know you absolutely didn't mean it this way, but the way that could come off is like, yeah, that's good if you listen to that. That was a very Michelle thing you said. Let me say that. If Michelle had said that, that's how it would have come off.
Like she's making it sound like no one's heard of them, but I mean I've heard of them, and they are on I think various soundtracks for different movies and stuff.
Well, I think we know what the litmus test for if someone's heard of them. Michelle, have you heard of the Decemberists?
Well, I had an ex-boyfriend who introduced me to them, and he thought that they were quite a big deal at the time.
If it's the ex-boyfriend that I'm thinking that it is, I don't think I'll be a fan of this band ever.
Yeah, it is the ex-boyfriend you're thinking that it is. So I don't like it on that.
Yeah.
So sorry, December's canceled.
Lauren will be. I bet we're never going to find out how to pronounce Galileo now.
Although I do like Hayam.
Say it say it several different ways so I can edit it in when we find out if we're right. Okay, we got to move on. Sue says regarding our underrated bands episode, Sue circled back to us and said Tesla is a great band. I'm not sure why they didn't have the sellout arena status that many bands of the same genre did. I've seen them many times as openers and they always put on a solid show. And I would be surprised if I didn't mention that in the episode, but yes, Tesla is just very, very, very good live. And they're one of those bands that I mentioned it during the episode, as Michelle remembers, that I always remain puzzled that Tesla was not bigger. As we always say, there is a million ways to get a hold of us. You can leave us a voicemail at 313-364-9899, or you can go right to infectiousgroupodcast.com, send us a message through there. You can get us on all of social media. And as I have done many times before, Michelle's home address to stop by and give her a message in person is...
How did that work out well for you this week?
It did not. And so, moving right along. Our jammies. I had 4 songs, 2 from one artist that literally this week I woke up with them stuck in my head and they powered me through entire days. So I'm going to share those first. One is the other day I woke up with I Want It All by Queen stuck in my head. My God, what a jam. And it was one of those things where like it was so stuck in my head that at least 4 times throughout the day I had to stop what I was doing and bring it up on Spotify and hear the song in hopes that it would not that I didn't want it stuck in my head, but like in hopes that it would stop circling in my head if I just heard the song. And it did not. It just kept going in my head all day long. So I Want It All by Queen. 2 from Our Lady Peace. And I was watching Scrubs last week.
Ooh.
And yeah, in Scrubs, there's a great episode where they use the song Innocent by Our Lady Peace. And I love that song a great deal. And then on the same record was arguably their biggest hit song, Somewhere Out There, is on that same record. So I had that stuck in my head. And I sent you guys, Michelle and Kyle, a link to this, and I don't know if either of you got to listen to it yet, but Mark Tremonti, who is the guitar player for Creed, who I have spent a considerable amount of time on this show insulting, he is amazingly talented and far better than the band that he used to be in. And he is putting out a swing album of all things. And the first single from it this week was a cover of, or actually the whole record is going to be Sinatra covers. But the first single from it was I've Got You Under My Skin. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to it, but it is amazing. Like it is an amazing cover.
I forgot you sent that.
hard to believe. But so obviously the internet was in a state of shock and awe earlier this week when they were like, how is this metal shredding guy? Like what is the thought behind this? Like why all of a sudden a swing album? And the short version is he wanted to do something way outside his wheelhouse to get attention because he has a daughter who has Down syndrome. And so all of the proceeds from this record are all going to the National Alliance for Down Syndrome. So I just think that's really, really sweet that instead of just being like, here's another metal album, but the proceeds are going like he did something on purpose way outside his wheelhouse to get the attention so that he could raise more money for the Down Syndrome Alliance, which I think is, really, really cool and creative way to go about it. Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's amazing. I'm all for genre hopping if you're going to do it for that reason.
Exactly. Instead of just being like, I don't know, I'll go adult contemporary, maybe sell more. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a reason behind it. So Michelle, if I haven't made you feel bad enough already, if you could go back and listen to that to at least support it with a stream, that would be great.
Fine.
And then lastly, obviously, when the news broke last night, the entirety of my night became consumed with Foo Fighters, specific to the Wasting Light LP, which is just a a stunningly good album. It's better. It's head and shoulders for me above anything else the Foo Fighters did. So we will include tracks from that on the playlist this week as well. Kyle, what are your jammy jams?
Oh man, it's been all rap this week.
What?
That's not a surprise.
Yeah. Well, usually I bounce back and forth between stuff, but like for whatever reason, sometimes I get in the mood where I find songs that they rattle my brain when I listen to them.
Sure.
Because the bass or they're produced so well.
Yeah.
And our car has a decent sound system in it, so I've been finding these songs.
Come on now, don't slow play it. It's a Dodge Journey, man. Come on,
the sound system in a Dodge Journey, whatever one we have, is impressive to say the least. I was very, very surprised to
well, I mean, that's what they're known for.
Sounds that good.
That's what they're known for. So, anyways, you were in the Dodge Journey, bumping as you do.
Yes. So there is a song called "Fantasy" by Big Scar featuring Offset. Offset is one of the members of Migos. For anyone who doesn't know.
Yep.
I had never heard of this dude before, Big Scar, but this song, man, I just crank it whenever it comes on, and I can't even say that I even understand what the hell they're talking about half the time, but it puts me in the mood where I want to get going and like kick some ass.
You would call it good demo material for any recent new owner of a Dodge Journey.
Yes, as long as Dodge is still putting the same good quality sound systems in their cars.
Right on. Okay, what else? You got any other rap songs you were?
Yeah, so there is also a hold on. There is a song. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this. There's an album called I Know Nego. Nego is a fashion designer. He created like Bathing Ape and Bape and all these huge like brands that became popular in the hip hop industry. But he put together like a mixtape basically, and so he has all these features with all these hugely famous like rappers and whatnot on it. And it's exactly what you would be expecting. It's got like Kid Cudi and Tyler the Creator and a bunch of people on it. But it just came out, and it is if you like Kid Cudi, Tyler the Creator, that kind of stuff, it's exactly what you'd be looking for.
Right on.
So I have been listening to that as well.
Also in the Dodge Journey.
Yes. Yeah,
okay. I figured, but I just wanted, I mean, where else? If you have access to a Dodge Journey, why would you listen to music anywhere else?
As ridiculous as it sounds, we got rid of the Kia Soul to get the Dodge Journey, and the Dodge Journey speakers sound 100% better than the Kia Soul ones.
That's rad. It sounds like we need to talk to them about a sponsorship, if you ask me.
Yeah, we should.
Yep. Michelle, what are your jammy jams? I'm sure hoping that you've listened to some music this week and you can bestow it upon us.
I have one jam.
Oh, boy.
This is a jammy jam.
Michelle's jammy jam.
It's a song I forgot about. Movies by Alien Ant Farm.
Oh, right on.
Came back into my life this week, and it's been on repeat. That's it. Just that song constantly. Just that one. Yep, just that one.
So a lot of in-depth information from Kyle and I about what we were listening to and why. And Michelle's like, I accidentally hit play on a song and therefore jammy jam.
Actually, we were in the car and I was driving back from Chicago and I thought that the song was playing on the radio. And I was like, I haven't heard the song in a long time. And then it turned out to be a different song altogether. So
solid. Thank you for that. We are going to take a quick break because obviously Michelle needs it. When we come back, we are going to get into the second half of the episode, which is going to be an album review brought to us by a listener. Hopefully everybody takes the break to really let all of that information from Michelle just wash over them. Take a second. Think about all the information she just gave you and come right back. You're listening to the Infectious Groove Podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hey, I'm Pants and Saren.
This is Stevie.
And I'm Augie.
And we are BFYTW, a podcast all about playing games and having fun. Our games are usually based on British panel shows and game shows, but we'll play anything that captures our attention and imagination. Why? It's right there in the title.
You'll never guess what the F stands for.
Hey, it's Dalton.
And Sam.
We want to tell you about our podcast called Big 10 Plus 4.
Are you a college football fan who doesn't want to always be talking about the SEC?
Are you a college basketball fan who's tired of hearing how the Big 10 doesn't win in the big dance?
Then we're the show for you. Check us out each week on the Odd Pods Media Network. We bring you college sports with a Big 10 flavor.
Big 10 Plus 4. College sports with Midwest perspective. Blue collar and blue blood.
We are back. It's Russ, Kyle, and Michelle, and we are going to go into the second half of the episode, which this week features an album review, and not just an album review, but a special one, because it is time to listen to our listeners and get a crowd pick for an album review. So let's get into it.
The Infectious Groove Podcast.
Album review.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
This week, we are going to do an album which is kind of tricky to find, because the artist not only changed his name since the release of this record, but his original name is in the title of the record. So when this album was originally released, it came out on July 13th, 1987. And originally the record was released by an artist named Terence Trent D'Arby, and the name of the record is Introducing the Hardline, according to Terence Trent D'Arby. In the time since, Terence has changed his name, and actually we'll get into it when we get into open discussion regarding the name change, but really changed his whole persona and being and everything. And he is now known as Sananda Maitreya. And so if you try and look this record up, it's interesting because, if you go on streaming or whatever, it listed under the artist Sananda Maitreya, but then the name of the record is still Introducing the Hardline, according to Terence Trent D'Arby. And this was brought to us by a listener of ours from overseas named Russell, and he goes by Blue Sky 28 on Twitter. He gave us a whole list of really good albums. And to be honest, I just kind of randomly picked this one off of his list, and we will work through his crowd picks as we cycle through many crowd picks and listeners and whatnot. So if you haven't given us a list or an album pick just yet, feel free to use any of our social media to send us an album or a pick of some sort. We'll keep track of those, and we will get back to them as we go on through this series. So as we do, we always start this particular segment with what songs we like the most on records, and then we go through and say what we might not like, and then we have an open discussion and so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Kyle. One thing I want to ask you is, I have to assume you had at least heard the Monster single off of this album, Wishing Well. I don't know if you were familiar with anything else off of the record, but having said that, assuming that you liked some of what you heard, what were some of your favorite tracks on the record?
I don't have... and I had heard Wishing Well before. I think everyone probably had.
I think so. I think
point.
If you live on Earth, you've heard that song, yeah.
But there's nothing that stuck out to me more than others. I had a hard time getting into this album.
Oh, really?
It wasn't like, I like his voice and a lot of what he does, but I just had a hard time getting into it.
Digging into it. I get it.
Yeah.
No, I get it. For me, his voice is very, very reminiscent of Sam Cooke. And I'm an enormous Sam Cooke fan, and I would never say that Terence Trent D'Arby or Sananda Maitreya was trying to sound like Sam Cooke, but for me, anybody who sounds like Sam Cooke is an automatic win, like for me. Okay, so Michelle, did you have any tracks on the record that you would list as the best tracks on the record?
One.
And I'm going to assume it is the enormous single Wishing Well?
It is. That's my one.
Got it. Well, I will do the heavy lifting for this particular segment. For me, I don't think there's any bad songs on the record per se. For me, it might just be familiarity with the record from when it came out. But for me, the best tracks on the record are mostly the singles. If You Let Me Stay, Dance Little Sister, Wishing Well, and Sign Your Name were all hit singles. Wishing Well obviously being the dominant one over that. Like Kyle said, if you live on Earth, you've heard Wishing Well. Whereas the other singles were successful during that year, 87, and of course pouring into 88. But Wishing Well for sure was the dominant standout hit of the record. I think special nod goes to, and hopefully this isn't where Michelle learns this is a cover, but the last track on the record is a cover of Who's Loving You, which was originally written by Smokey Robinson. The Supremes had a hit with it, and then Michael Jackson pretty much owned that song from age 7 on. So it's bold of Terence Trent D'Arby to not only cover Who's Loving You, but to close the record with it, because it's just so much. I mean, yes, it was written by Smokey Robinson, but even Smokey Robinson will tell you that's Michael Jackson's song.
I did dig his version of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's bold to do it, and it's a solid version of it for sure.
I didn't know it was a cover.
That's what I was just going to ask, Michelle, so you were not aware. So even
I'm learning about it right now.
So even the En Vogue, You're Never Going to Get It, where they open with the exact same lyrics, you didn't put that together?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. And Michael Jackson's version, which I'm 100% certain you've heard several times, you didn't put together it was the same lyrics?
Nope.
Or did you maybe think that Terence Trent D'Arby is a time traveler and he maybe recorded it first and then went back in time and gave it to Smokey Robinson?
So it was very familiar, but
I wonder why.
But I thought maybe it was just because it was like I'd heard it on the radio. I did not realize that there were so many other versions.
There were, in fact. As far as stinkers go, I guess we'll just go around the same way. Kyle, you didn't have anything that you were like absolutely loved, but was there anything that you just said, Jesus, I can't believe this is on the record. This is a stinker.
I do not have stinkers on this record. I think everything went well with what he was going for.
As far as what he set out to do.
Yeah. I think what has happened on this record is exactly what he was trying to make happen. And I mean, you can't deny his voice. I mean, he also plays a shitload of instruments, and I think wrote damn near everything on this record. So like
including Who's Loving You.
except for Who's Loving You.
I mean, according to Michelle.
It could have been.
Right.
But I don't find nothing has reached the Pharrell Happy Stinkometer for me on here.
That's good. It's always got to be good news for an artist when they just miss the Pharrell Stinkometer.
I cringe when I say that every time because I thoroughly love Pharrell and damn near everything he does, but I hate that song so very much.
Dude, I get it. You know, this is about the same thing. Like Bon Jovi is pop rock, much like Pharrell is very much like a pop rap artist now. And there's plenty of Bon Jovi songs I can't stand, but there's plenty of stuff I would die on a hill for too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Michelle, where do you sit as far as stinkers go on this record? Do you have to get a scroll out here to?
No. So, upon my first listen, I will say that it was not the record that I was expecting because I love Wishing Well, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. It was just it wasn't bad, but it took me a second to like readjust to my expectations, like to come around.
Sure.
And then upon my second listen, the only song that I really loved is Wishing Well, but I didn't hate anything. Like I found myself just listening to the record all the way through and then the end, like right. I wasn't like, there was not one song where I piqued my interest enough to write down like and do notes about it. But there was not one song on the record that I was like, next, skip. There was not it gets better on this record.
Right.
And that's the best compliment I can pay it.
Sure.
is that there were no hard and fast stinkers on this record for me.
Got it. And here's the thing. I, of course, have no stinkers on this. I like the whole record a great deal, but I think for me, it's very, you guys know how hard I go at track listings and especially when your record kicks off and especially with a debut record, I think it's really weird that the album starts with a 5-minute plus song and then goes into several 3-minute, what you would consider to be pop songs in a row. You know, do you find, I think that's odd. Do you?
Strange. That is strange. I agree with that. Yeah.
Michelle, I thought for sure you were going to disqualify the first song on the record for being over 5 minutes. I thought for sure it was going to be a stinker.
So shockingly enough, all of my listens, it never dawned on me to check the track. Usually if there's a song where I'm like, doesn't this song ever end? I'll go and check and see how long it is. And it never really once hit me in my multiple listens. So that's probably also a positive for this record.
All right.
I never,
we're making headway. But I would assume you were overjoyed every single time you got to track 3 and you were like, oh man, it's time for Wishing Well.
Yes. And then, there's the other single on this record and
it's crazy, but a couple seconds ago, I just detailed all the singles from the record.
I know, and I forgot already, man.
If You Let Me Stay, Dance Little Sister, Wishing Well, and Sign Your Name were all singles from this record.
Sign Your Name.
Sign Your Name. Kyle, I'm shocked that Sign Your Name didn't make it as your best track on the record. That's baby making music right there.
Yeah.
We already have one of those.
We have a baby at home.
No more.
I totally agree. It totally is. I guess it just didn't stick out enough as opposed to everything else for it to be like something that like I would go and seek out from the album.
I gotcha. And it's okay to say that. Like, I don't think it's an insult to say that the record is very samey. You know what I mean? Like you're saying. Now, I do think Sign Your Name stands out quite a bit from the rest of the record, but I could also see someone listening to it and having it not stand out as well, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I think because it was a single, I always enjoyed when it came on, but it was only because I'd heard it before.
You've been familiar with it previously.
Yeah, and I would never probably say, put that song on, we're Wishing Well. I put it on playlists currently, and it's like, it's my fucking jam.
I don't know if I'm overly familiar with Wishing Well or not, but I like Sign Your Name a lot better than Wishing Well.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I just love that song. And I mean, my love for Wishing Well is endless. But oh man, I love Sign Your Name. What a jam that is.
Huh. That's good to know.
Yeah, for, if you ever started a new play. Go ahead.
I put it on my spreadsheet.
If you get me a playlist for my birthday, put Sign Your Name on it.
Well, don't spoil it.
Right. Yeah, I spoiled my own birthday present. As far as open discussion goes, I have a couple of things I want to mention to you guys. So this is a debut record. And my question, and this is very much putting you both on the spot, but I want to ask you guys this. Do you give this record more credit for being as good as it is for a debut record? Like, I think for somebody to come out of the gate with this record is pretty damn strong. So I would give it more credit for that. Does that register with you guys? Or are you like, no, this is just an album and it doesn't matter that it's his first, like...
No, I totally think that gives him points, absolutely, for sure. Because not only is it his debut record, but like I said, he played many of the instruments that are used on the record. Mm. He produced some of it. He arranged all of it, I believe. Mm. And he wrote like 99% of it. So that's huge to come out of the gate with something like that.
Right. And that's more or less what I was getting at. Michelle, does any of that matter to you, or should he just try again next time?
Well, it feels like it would have been a huge deal in 1987.
That's for sure.
So, I mean, I think it's a great debut album, but I think that in 1987 it would have been a much bigger deal than if it were to come out today.
Also, you have to include the fact that this record was a much bigger deal in many other parts of the world, and not necessarily in the U.S. when it first came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true.
So, like, not only is it an amazing thing to put something like this out as your first thing, but for whatever reason, a lot of people only think that things matter when you blow up in the United States, when it's just not true at all.
And especially back then, too.
Yeah, so this was huge in other places, Australia, Switzerland, the UK, all those places like this. I mean, it hit number one almost immediately. Mm-hmm. I feel like a little while longer to catch on in the U.S., but yeah.
I feel like you might have looked up the same fact that I did. Did you happen to catch, Kyle, how many copies this record sold worldwide in its first 3 days?
1 million copies.
1 million copies this sold in its first 3 days of release. I think that's a stunning number for a debut record from someone.
Yeah, we're talking about physical having to go to the damn store to buy a CD, buy a tape, whatever. Kind of thing. So,
now you're going to have to explain the concept of going to the record store to Michelle.
Put that into perspective. How many records did Michael Jackson sell in the first 3 days?
Of which album?
Pick one.
Well, I mean, you got to remember. Okay, let me give it to you like this. So, In Sync, No Strings Attached is the number that always flies into my head. In the first week of its release, that did 11 million.
Okay, so they did much better than this.
Okay, but here's okay. Put that in perspective, though. First of all, you're talking about 7 days of album sales for In Sync. Against 3 days for Terence Trent D'Arby. And then also you're talking about the massive hype train that would have been behind NSYNC because of it being their second record. Like when No Strings came out, it was a huge event, right? So here you have a new artist who in 3 days moves about a quarter of what they moved with a massive hype train behind him over 7 days. To me, that's huge.
Strange that whoever wrote this focused on the fact that it was just 3 days instead of just going with the week that everybody else goes by.
Yeah, that is odd.
Also, this is open discussion, yeah. So I have a
welcome.
I have a Chatham tanning situation here where I never know if it's Terence or Terence Trent. So I just want you to know. I just wanted to put that out there.
Do you think it's possible that that's why he changed his name?
I 100%. It's because I wrote him a letter and was like, "Can you please change your name?"
He said, "I'm on it." Speaking of which, I did look a little into that because I wanted to know exactly what it was, and it's something that, as a fan of him, I've never really looked into. I was very aware that he had changed his name, but I never really looked into the whys on it. Did either of you get a chance to look into that? Or I'm guessing Michelle did not. Kyle?
It was on my list of things to do, and I forgot.
I did not look into why it happened, but I was absolutely confused, and I actually. Believe this or not, I had to have Michelle point me in the direction of where to find it on Spotify because I didn't know. I thought that somebody had just uploaded part of the record or something as a different name.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
and she was like, "No, he changed his name. Like, look at like right here." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Kyle,
yeah, I had helped Kyle with the internet.
And you had helped Kyle with internet and music, and I'm shook. Like I don't.
First and last time, probably.
No, not the first time.
I'm going to have to keep that soundbite handy just in case it ever happens again. When I looked into this, the reason why he changed his name is because he very much, to your point, Kyle, came out, put literally everything he had into this record. The record label did what they do and decided that they were going to push the one single better than the others. That pretty much became the story of him. And then they were like, when it was time for the follow-up records, the record label was more or less like, "Oh, okay, we're done with you." So he, from the interviews that I read, more or less was like, "Okay, well then I'm done with that person." Like when he does interviews, he refers to Terence Trent D'Arby as he and not I. Like he's completely changed over to a completely different person in his eyes because the person that was Terence Trent D'Arby was the person who put that record out, got very used by the record industry, and then just disappeared. So that is why. So it's a lot of times when you hear of a name change, it's usually like a religious reason.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, I thought for sure that's what it was going to be. And for this, from the research I did, I would say it ended up being more of a spiritual thing than a religious thing, if that makes sense. Like more of a philosophy thing.
Is that an option for everyone? Just curious, like if I could just...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can literally change your name to anything you want at any time.
Princess Consuela Banana Hammock?
Yes, I would like for you to do that. My last question for open discussion is, do you guys think that the success of Wishing Well held this record back? Like that single was so monster that it held the rest of the record back. And the reason why I asked that question is because, like Michelle, you said you put it on and the record wasn't what you expected. Do you think a lot of people, when they heard the rest of the record, didn't go back for seconds on the next record and further because they were like, well, I want him to be the Wishing Well guy?
I think in 1987 it would have been different. I think that this is exactly the record that it should have been, and it probably was. It was an amazing debut album, and I think a lot of people probably got into it. I think that since I waited, I don't know math, how many years?
Like 30 plus.
34 years to dive into this record. I think that Wishing Well, because it's stuck around so long and you hear it everywhere still to this day, I do think that Wishing Well probably has hindered this record, but I think probably for the first 10 or 15 years when it was out, I think that it was probably exactly what people were hoping it would be.
Yeah, I could see that. Kyle, do you think that the success of the big single held the rest of the record back?
Every time we talk about shitty things happening within the music industry, I get physically fucking angry.
Yeah.
And like when you explained why he changed his name and did away with his whole like previous person, and the record industry is the goddamn worst, man. And it destroyed someone that has a shitload of talent. Mm-hmm. And I think that he just fell into, it was all a culmination of what was going on. Like did he expect Wishing Well to blow up and be huge? Probably not.
Right.
So when it did, it kind of overshadowed the rest of everything. And then he's like, but hey, look, like I have all the rest of this record and it's all me and amazing. And the record industry was like, well, yeah, well, I mean, but Wishing Well though.
Right. Yep.
So it's like, yeah, I do feel like he got shafted, and it ended up being a whole thing where we've talked about countless artists where they put out a single and it ends up blowing up and they kind of live in that shadow for the rest of their career. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, there's a million artists that are always going to close with exactly one song because that's all anyone knows of them. And people like this guy who write and perform and do all this, it's all self-done and self-imposed, and He's not relying on anyone within the industry, and he gets shit on it. It's sad.
For sure. And to put it into stark reality, Kyle, your point of how the music industry uses people and how poorly it can go, in many articles that I read, interviews with him regarding his name change, he made reference to it was either change his name and persona or death. So that's where he was at.
Oh, he made the right decision.
Correct.
He 100% made the right decision, but why should that ever have to be a decision that someone makes?
I couldn't agree more. It's one of the reasons we're doing the show, brother. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try and spread positivity and put some change out there in the way things are done. Shake it up. Would you buy this album is a question we always ask. And as I answer many times with things like this, yes. And I've bought it on several formats. I've owned it on CD, cassette, and LP over the many years. We'll swing around to Michelle first on this. Michelle, is there enough here that you would buy the album, or would you like to get yourself a single for Wishing Well and be done with it?
Just the single. I would not purchase this entire record.
Gotcha. Kyle, now I feel like you're going to say no on this just because you didn't think it was a bad record, but I don't think there was enough there to compel you to it, but I will ask you anyways, is this a record you would buy?
I feel like I would, just based upon this is a record that maybe everyone should have in their record collection.
Mm-hmm.
And he deserves everyone to buy his goddamn record, man. Though it's not particularly my jam or not up my alley per se. This is a huge record for what it is.
Sure. So to be clear, you are completely the opposite of Michelle, and you feel this artist deserves people to buy his record, as opposed to Michelle, who would like to spend the lowest amount of money to get the one song she knows.
Yes.
Just making sure. And Michelle, that's accurate for you?
Yes. Also, Zoe's awake.
We
on the podcast.
We had 2 or 3 people ask this week, and I forgot to include it in feedback. Many people would like to know when Zoe's going to start contributing her to the Jammy Jams.
She has quite a few Jammy Jams.
She just tried to say something. What'd she say?
She said Wishing Well is great.
I'm sure she did. Now, we'll go ahead and start with you on this one, Michelle, because sometimes I forget to ask this question. Even though this is not particularly your favorite record, is this something you would recommend to other people? Like if people were looking for good R&B, is this something you would go, oh, you know what you should check out is this record?
I would, but I would also say I'm not the person to ask about that.
Yeah. Your first question would be, why are you asking me?
Yeah, ask somebody else.
Got it. You're like, I know a guy.
I do know a guy.
Let me give you a number to a guy. Kyle, would you recommend this record to folks?
Yeah, because if you like any R&B, then you need to understand where that R&B came from and the lineage of how that whole thing works. And
Absolutely.
This is very much a part of that.
I definitely agree. So we're going to go through our rating on this. I am definitely afraid of Michelle's, but we'll get there in a second. For me, I'm going to put this record at an 8, and I'm going to put it at an 8 because of myself. And here's something where, Kyle, your initial thoughts on the record where you didn't have any particular best track to pick for yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I love this record, and when I put it on, like every song that comes on, I'm like, oh, what a jam, right? But I probably haven't listened to this record straight through in at least 10, maybe 15 years, because the record's never front of mind for me. So it's a weird rating for me to give and for me to even wrap my head around, because I love the songs that are on the record, but nothing is ever memorable enough to where I go, oh, yes, I should totally play that record front to back. Does that make sense? Does that kind of line up with what you were saying, Kyle, about how like you don't dislike the songs, but it's nothing you would be like, oh, I got to put that on to listen to that song?
Yeah, and I feel that this album record would get lost in the abyss, kind of, because of how it came out a long time ago, and it wouldn't be something that I would reach through, even if I was at your house. I'm not going to reach to the bins and look for this record.
Sure.
Do you think that means that it's not that great of a record?
No, and that's the thing. When I play this album, I'm amazed by it. Like I love all the songs on it, but I don't ever think of it immediately to put it on. So I'm in a very weird spot with it. Like the fact that, yeah, to your point, Michelle, the fact that I don't think to put it on means I should score it much, much lower. But when I do think to put it on, every song, I'm like, God damn, this is a jam.
So user error.
It's absolutely. My notes say 8, but this is my fault. Like that's what I put in the notes was 8, but this is my fault.
I want that clip.
Yes, I will.
This is my fault.
I will make sure you get that. Oh, thanks for saying it as well, by the way.
Shit.
Hoisted by your own petard. I don't,
Always.
Kyle, I don't think I got your, I think I only gave my score and asked for your opinion on that. What is your score on the record?
I gave it a 6.
Okay, that's fair, I think.
And because, like, I know I talked it up a lot, so it's like, well, why are you giving it such a shitty score? But, like, it's just not, like I said, it's not something that I would find myself listening to, you know, over other things. I understand its importance and that he totally kicked ass on this record.
Right.
It's just, it gets kind of pushed to the wayside for me.
I feel like your score mostly comes from the work that he put into it. Probably like the production and the writing and all that, like it would give you, that would boost you to give it a higher score, like how much he had to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, we all see how the industry is nowadays, and you don't find a debut record that someone put this much effort into most of the time, I will say.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Michelle, please don't give it a 1 just for only liking Wishing Well. What is your scale, your rating of this of 1 to 10?
I gave it a 5 because it's just there for me. Like,
That's
there wasn't anything on here, like I said, that there was no stinkers on it, but there was also just the one song that I liked from the record. So I gave it a hearty 5. I feel like anything less than
you gave it a 5 and a firm handshake.
I gave it a 5 plus.
See, Michelle's official rating, everybody, is a 5 and an attaboy.
Yes, and I would not deter anybody else from listening to it. It's just not it's not for me, but I appreciate what it is, and I like that one song a lot. So
I also am glad that this record was chosen because I don't think that I would have ever dug into it if it hadn't been. So.
Same, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one thing that even we've had some crowd picks of albums that I didn't come away loving. But I was very thankful for the experience of being like, you know, even if it's like, well, I have to listen to this for the show, like I'm thankful that I listened to it. And I feel like that's how you guys feel about this record.
I'm thankful that it's over. Just kidding.
God damn. We came so close to you being nice for a whole episode and you fumbled it.
And also,
1 yard line.
Because of the industry shenanigans and him changing his name, like I feel like that led to him getting lost in the abyss even further, right? If you're a fan of R&B, you absolutely should. If you haven't listened to this record or are unfamiliar with who he is, you should absolutely go and find out and listen to it because you can't appreciate what's happening nowadays until you appreciate what's happened before.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I'm really big on that myself. So that is our review of introducing the Hardline according to Terence Trent D'Arby. And in a phrase I think should be said far more on this planet. Thank you, Russell, for giving us that album.
Oh, you want to go by Russell now?
For a review? I would if you would say thank you more often.
Okay. All right. You heard it. This is on record.
It is on record, unless I edit it out. So, having said that, we always do every other week is an album review. And then in between, we have fun topics that we feel are fun to discuss about music. Coming up next week, we are going to have one thing that I think could be really fun, and that is misheard lyrics, and not necessarily just things, songs you thought said one thing, like for example, many people think that Beast of Burden by the Rolling Stones is a song about pizza burning. It is not.
It's not?
It is not.
Oh, man.
And I'm sure we'll have some fun with those type of examples, but we're also going to talk about songs that are very much about one thing, but you thought were about another, and which I think is also fun. And hopefully all three of us will have examples of that. I know for sure I do, of songs that I totally misunderstood for years. So we're going to have fun with that topic next week. We have several different topics lined up for the next couple of weeks, and of course album reviews and so on and so forth. I think, Michelle, we're back around to you for our album review pick next, I think.
Sounds like a thing. Yeah, sure.
Even if it's not your turn, you'll take it.
Yes.
Right on.
I volunteer.
Yeah, she volunteers as tribute. Like we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Bye.
The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.